remember, the first bill, which is the American Rescue Plan, the one that has to do with Wi-Fi infrastructure, roads, the ports, this bill has already been passed bipartisan, and it is sitting on the desk in the House of Representatives. Now, it's been sitting there for a few months because those that are in the House of Representatives, the Democrats, have already said we're not going to pass one bill without having the other bill on our desk to pass at the same time. So this whole time, one bill has been sitting on the desk just waiting for the other bill to come along. Well, as we already saw the past couple of weeks, Joe Manchin has decided that he does not want the bill to be $2.2 trillion. He actually wants a lot of programs taken out. He doesn't even care if there's only zero amount, according to Joe Manchin, added into the stimulus package. But at the end of the day, it looks like it's going to be about $1.9 to $2 trillion instead of the $3.5 trillion that's needed. And while all this is going on, just like we're watching and we're tired of all that's taking place with this stimulus infrastructure bill, well, the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, feels exactly like we do.
I have reverence and respect for the president. I'm not here to offer advice unless it's sought. I will observe this as just taxpayer, that it's COVID stupid. And you look at the poll numbers, and
you think focusing on these other issues is a bit, I don't want to say, they're not unimportant.
They're all important.
Right.
But this political death march of who's up, who's down, Manchin, this cinema, I can't take it anymore. No one can take it anymore. And just enough. Like, stop. Just get something done. And it looks like they're finally going to get something done. And watch, miraculously, numbers will start going up. They actually delivered. Now you can go out and say what you did. No one even remembers what was in the original $1 trillion package and all the good infrastructure investment. Now they get to talk about that again, not just this $3.5 trillion reconciliation that's over 10 years. People don't know it's 10 years, don't even know what a trillion is, don't know what reconciliation is. They just know no one's getting any damn thing done. And it's driving them crazy. And of course, they're going to blame who's ever in the executive branch. And so I think all that changes as long as the focus reverts immediately back to the reason why he was elected in the first place, and that was to get COVID behind us. Every question you've asked me has that connective tissue.
Hopefully the votes go exactly as they need to go this week. No hiccups. But even though Joe Manchin has already said, according to him and Christian Cinema, that they will not be having votes this week because they don't think that the reconciliation bill with the Democrats will be completed this week. So therefore, we're going to sit back, keep you guys posted on what's going on with this infrastructure bill. Now, speaking of bills, there is a bill that's being presented tomorrow, mañana, which is called the Social Security 2100 Sacred Trust. And what this is about, well, this bill is about making major changes when it comes to Social Security.
But will we get what we expect out of it when it's time to retire? This week, Connecticut's 1st District Congressman John Larson is expected to introduce a new bill. It's called Social Security 2100, a Sacred Trust. So what's it designed to do? He's joining us this morning from Washington to tell us more about it. Congressman Larson, thank you for being with us. You say the word Social Security in politics, people's ears perk up. Tell us about this bill you'll be proposing this week.
Well, great to be with you, Eric. And on Tuesday, we're going to have a rollout of Social Security 2100, a Sacred Trust, which combines the president's proposals that he outlined during the campaign and initiatives that have been worked on for more than a decade, which means there'll be an across-the-board increase in Social Security. It also means that no one can retire into poverty after working all their lives and paying into the system. I think it would surprise most Americans to know that there's more than 5 million fellow Americans who have worked all their lives and get a below poverty level check from the government. That simply cannot stand. And because Congress has been negligent, and by that I mean it hasn't improved Social Security in more than 50 years, and it's been 38 years since Congress has taken any concrete action towards Social Security. We also are going to make sure that we include a CPI that generally reflects what costs are. We benefited by the recent CPI because of the pandemic and inflation, but a lot of that is gobbled up by Medicare costs, as you know. This will create what the AARP has long been striving for, something called CPIE, E standing for elderly, and the actual cost that they experience, like gas costs, like food, prescription drugs, heating and cooling your homes, etc. And then also for people who have to work primarily out of necessity, that we not tax their Social Security into retirement. We also repeal what is commonly referred to as WEP and GPO, which is wrongfully penalized teachers and municipal leaders and their spouses over a period of time. All in all, this combines of what President Biden has rightly called a sacred trust, the trust between the people and their government. Social Security has never missed a payment.
Now that we've heard what Senator Lawson has to say in regards to the importance of this bill, let's do a walkthrough of what's in this bill once again. The first thing that they put in this bill is to make sure that there is an automatic 2% increase for all beneficiaries when it comes to Social Security. So automatically on top of the COLA that you're receiving in 2022, he wants to make sure that you all receive a permanent 2% increase. The next thing that he wants to be put on here is also changes in the annual COLA or cost of living adjustment calculator index from the CPIW, which is the Consumer Price Index for workers. In other words, he wants to change that to the CPIE, which stands for elderly. In other words, all the calculations for Social Security should be calculated for those that are elders as well as those that are disabled or those that are retired, not by those that are still working. Also taking into account all the expenses that you guys have, including your medical expenses, which right now are not included when it comes to the cost of living adjustment. And the impact of this will be great, because even though in 2022, many of you are going to be receiving a 5.9% cost of living increase compared to the 1.3% that you received last year. However, if they would have used the calculator, which is the CPIE, meaning elderly, and put in all the costs that you have to pay, you would have ended up with a 6.2 to 6.3 increase instead of a 5.9 based off of the rate of inflation. So these are the things that he wants to make sure that he changes in this bill that's going to be presented tomorrow.
All right, a lot to unpack there, Congressman. Let's start with that cost of living increase, because I know that's one of the big changes. Now, we saw announced that the cost of living increase for next year is going to be the highest increase since 1982, 5.9%.
That's correct.
But you're saying the numbers that they're looking at may not be in the best interest of the recipients of Social Security because of what it's considering. It's not the price index for me that matters, right? It's the price index for people who are eligible. Is that the point?
That is the point. The point is, and the reason behind CPIE is that it reflects what your actual expenses are, not what the cost price index is in general, but what it is that you actually have to pay once you reach that magic retirement age and you're receiving those benefits. And it has been woefully negligent and inaccurate. And in fact, in 2020, it was 1.1%, hardly keeping pace with what we need. And while it's welcome that it's so high, it's high because of the pandemic and the ensuing inflation that has taken place, not because of the actual out-of-pocket cost that people incur. That's why we've worked with the AARP and the National Alliance of Retired Americans to make sure that we have something that will actually reflect their costs.
So, of course, more money is good for people who are receiving Social Security or will be soon. But we saw the report this past year that the Social Security Trust Fund will be out of money by the year 2033. Now, that doesn't stop benefits, but it certainly could curtail them. So what's the plan to pay for all this?
Right.
If we're giving more money to people, isn't that an issue?
Yes, it is an issue, and it's more than ample reason to act in and of itself. And Social Security, you're right, will not be out of money, but what it would result in, without infusing the fund with the capital that it needs, there would be a 20% reduction in benefits across the board. A 20% reduction at a time, in fact, when we need to enhance benefits, not reduce them, because we just simply haven't kept pace with the needs and concerns of the American people. So this bill will enhance the opportunity, and we do so in a very simple way. We lift the cap on people making over $400,000. Now, it may surprise many of the listeners to know that a person making over $400,000 stops paying into the system after about the first $143,000 to round it off. And so consequently, those people aren't paying what a person making, let's say, $50,000 a year is as well. So we lift the cap, and that will allow us to both enhance the opportunity. People making over 400,000 will get benefits too, but that's how the system is worked, and this is what we need to do to help correct it.
And the next thing that he wants to put off in this bill is this. He wants to make sure that there are higher benefits for those that are widows and widowers, as well as he wants to also repeal the windfall elimination provision, which is the WEP, and the government pension offset, which currently penalizes public workers who are looking to retire. The next thing that they want to do when it comes to this bill, they want to end the 5-month waiting period for those that have filed for disability. Why should somebody who has already been approved to be or receive the benefits sit back and still have to wait to receive their benefits? The next thing that they want to make sure that you receive in regards to this bill is this. They want to make sure that they extend the student benefits for those that are receiving Social Security benefits based off of a loved one that has passed on or a parent that has passed on. And if they're a student, they want to extend that to 22 years old, that you'll still be receiving the Social Security benefits that you were receiving from your family members. And the last thing that they want to do is this. They want increased benefits for children that are being raised by their grandparents or another family member. A lot of individuals don't take into account how expensive it is for the 14 million grandparents that are raising their grandchildren at the same time trying to take care of themselves and their medical needs.
Have you been able to take the temperature of members on this bill, and is this one that we could see people? I know everyone gets nervous when they talk Social Security, but do you anticipate this will be a controversial proposal?
No, I anticipate we have already over 200 original co-sponsors of the bill. Now, that may not mean much to listeners, but as you know, it takes 218 votes to pass a bill. To be an original co-sponsor of a bill is pretty rare, and to have more than 200 original co-sponsors is pretty amazing. And I think once people are presented with the common facts and they see how it's going to be paid for and the benefits that are going to be derived, this will become very popular. It's why President Biden has called it a sacred trust, and it's long overdue for Congress to take action. That's the real crime here, Eric, is that the inaction of Congress for more than 50 years. This is not anything that can be done by executive order or through judicial decree. It actually takes a vote in Congress.
So these are the things that are going to be provided in this next bill. So this bill is going to be presented tomorrow. As he said, there is a strong push for it, and we're going to keep you guys posted in regards to what's going on. And when it comes to letting you know what's going on, we're going to give you who is the winner of this week's $50 stimulus giveaway that we do every week. And the winner for the $50 stimulus this week is Deborah Townsend. Congratulations, Deborah. We're going to be sending you an email out this morning letting you know that you are the winner and what steps you'll need to take in order to receive your monies into your account. Remember, guys, I only send the money by way of Cash App. If you do not have a Cash App account, the link is in the below. All it takes is a few minutes to sign up with Cash App. And like I always say, they'll give you a free $5 just for signing up. And that'll allow you to also be able to receive the monies into your bank account immediately as soon as I send it to you. Because we're going to be continuing this contest until the end of the year.